You mentioned Brandon Sanderson seeing Tolkien as the literary grandfather.
And then Brandon Sanderson refers to Robert Jordan and his ilk as like the second generation. They're the ones who grew up reading Tolkien. And when we look at something like Robert Jordan's work, it was a full 15 volumes. So it just greatly expanded the size of the story. And then Brandon Sanderson's work, he took what was one story, and then his approach was to make lots of stories in a giant universe of story that he calls the Cosmere. So that seems to be the progression from one generation to the next. And then we got to thinking, what would the next generation look like? And you can't just take an entire universe and make it an order of magnitude larger. But one of the things that I would want to try to put more of into a story is more like what C.S. Lewis did some of this in threads between the fantasy world and the real world. He intended to make some parallels, similar to how, say, Gulliver's Travels and much of Jonathan Swift's work really intended to draw some parallels. What I would hope is that in our writing, what makes us different, or the next generation, if you will, would be that we would have many more threads, a more depth in the connection between the fantasy world of our fiction and the real world of our readers.